Hello everybody, welcome back to Real Scent Review. I hope you're all keeping it real. I hope you like this video and I hope you subscribe to my channel. Alright, coming back tonight with a special one I've been waiting a long time to review. I'll be very frank, this is not a really expensive one, it's not a really complex one, but it's still one that I really like and I've been liking it for a long time. Very versatile. Very easy to wear, both in warm weather and cool weather. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce L'Homme by Rochas. Great fragrance here. First of all, I'll mention this is a 100 milliliter bottle, and I got this for the equivalent of $55 Canadian, which is just above the threshold where I would draw the line, you know, between cheap and moderately expensive. However, I will say that, you know, considering the good quality of this, the great performance, and the really pleasant smell, and the compliment factor, and all that stuff, I would consider this to be definitely on the more economical side of things. So like I said, 100 milliliter bottle for roughly $55 Canadian. You can find it for even slightly less than that on some North American discount websites, such as Fragrance Buy and Fragrance Net. Also, always remember that if you buy a testing bottle, a tester bottle that, you know, perfume stores offer as samples, you can purchase those for much cheaper than regular boxed bottles. So when I say tester, I don't mean the store will sell you like a half full bottle. No, what I mean is they will sell you an actual bottle of the actual perfume or cologne. It's just not always put into the designer box, right? And sometimes you can find testers that don't have caps, but tester bottles contain 100% authentic juice, right? It's just they receive them in bulk to be able to allow customers, potential customers, to sample them. And a lot of them, they don't even open, so they sell them off, and you can get them for quite low prices, depending on where you look on the internet. Anyway, I digress. Going back to L'Homme by Rochas here. So, starting off, wrong direction. Great atomizer, great quality bottle, especially for the price. Very heavy, heavy duty. I like the ribbed blue glass. Very nice. And the cap is heavy. It's heavy duty, solid. So right off the bat, it's a fresh creaminess, right? It's definitely got the fresh notes. It's got the blood orange and pineapple. Although, you know, you're getting more of the blood orange as opposed to the pineapple here. And it's immediately paired with cardamom. Now, cardamom gives it a creamy spice, right? A lot of times, especially with blue fragrances, the opening is a harsh, rindy type of grapefruit accord, right? A lot of times it's paired with bergamot. Like, I could name 10 fragrances off the top of my head that open up exactly the way I just described. So while that's pleasant, and I myself enjoy those particular openings, this one opens up differently. So you get the blood orange mixed with pineapple, but like I said, the cardamom gives it a spice and a creaminess to it. So there's a, you know, a touch of sweetness that starts in the opening. And soon after initial application, we get some juniper berries. So juniper berries come in and give it even more of a herbal depth. I know I've spoken at length about juniper berries in some of my previous videos. I really like this accord. If you've ever smelled the alcoholic beverage gin, you know, gin is usually flavored with juniper berries. So anyway, if you can imagine the smell of gin, that's really similar to what juniper berries smell like. Although, like, you know, juniper berries in perfumery don't tend to have that overly alcoholic accord, right? Unless we're talking about really cheap, low quality fragrances, which this is not. Anyway, I digress once again. Juniper berries in the mid, of course, it's paired with some geranium. Now the geranium is not overly floral in this instance. In this instance, the geranium just lends a slight minty accord. So We get the citrus up top, we get the sweetness from the cardamom and the spice, and the effervescence and the zinginess, I guess the fuzziness, if you will, of the juniper berry, mixed with a slight bit of mint. So it's a very interesting combination, you know, and it's not typical of every blue fragrance out there, you know. And in the dry down, admittedly, this does get sweeter. So that's coming from the tonka bean, right? In fact, the dry down is it's definitely dominated by tonka bean, but there's also some slight woodiness, although woods are not listed as official notes on the Rochas website or a lot of the review websites on the internet. But I do get some woods for sure, mixed with that tonka. Now, this fragrance never goes completely fresh, but at the same time, it never goes completely sweet, which is why I think this is perfect for warm weather and cooler weather as well. So summer nights, all the way up until fall days, right until the end of October, mid-November, depending on what part of the world you live in. But the point is, this is great for both warm weather and cooler weather. So a lot of times this particular fragrance gets compared to K by Dolce & Gabbana. I do agree there is a similarity between them. I would also say though, for myself personally, although they are roughly the same price, sometimes I guess K by Dolce & Gabbana can be slightly more expensive. I find this one is just deeper. It's a deeper fragrance. It's slightly more complex, and this one definitely has an added sweet creaminess, which Dolce & Gabbana K does not seem to have, to my nose. I do enjoy K myself. I like it, although I find it is just a little bit on the generic side. Whereas this, it's not like this is an overly complex, you know, masterpiece of a fragrance, but it is more complex than K, and you know, it has a little bit more complexity than a lot of blue scents out there on the market. It's just a little bit different, right? So in my opinion, I would choose this over Dolce & Gabbana's K. Now, one other fragrance that this does remind me of that I actually have never heard anybody else compare this to is Chanel Allure Homme Sport. Just the original Allure Homme Sport. Now that one, of course, has the mandarin orange with the vanilla, some bergamot. So you get, again, it's a creamy type of citrus feeling, you know, a scent that you get out of that one, which is very similar to what I get out of this. Although this dries down to be a little bit sweeter, a little bit heavier on the tonka bean, and this one has the juniper berry, the really nice juniper berry, which the Chanel Allure Homme Sport does not have. This one here, very versatile. I think any guy of any age could get away with wearing this. It does lean, I would say, I don't know, it's kind of casual. You could wear this in jeans and a t-shirt, or shorts and a t-shirt. You could also wear this to the office. It's perfectly office safe, you know, not offensive whatsoever. And it's a compliment magnet, honestly. I receive a lot of compliments every time I wear this from all different types of people. It's just a really versatile, really pleasant, yet distinct, and, you know, it's a little bit more complex than a lot of blue fragrances out there. So, anyway, having said that, the performance on my skin is definitely above average. Longevity, 7-8 hours on my skin. Projection projects, you know, well enough for the first hour, and then it starts to die down. Now, it never really, it's pretty consistent. It's so, like, it'll start off at an arm's length projection for the first hour, then it dies down to an elbow, and it stays around elbow length for the, you know, most of the rest of the lifespan on your skin, up until, you know, hour 6 roughly is when it starts to get really close to the skin, at which point it's still fine because the sillage on this is really good. So as long as you keep moving around, it's gonna hang in the air around you, right? So people will smell this in public, and if you're lucky, you'll get some compliments. All right, guys. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my review of L'Homme by Rochas, and as always, keep it real. I'll see you next time.